The crimson sands of Kepler 186f swirled outside the climate-controlled greenhouse dome as Finn Barrett adjusted the moisture levels for his latest batch of desert-adapted roses. After 3 years as lead botanist at the Terrestrial Adaptation Center, he'd finally achieved what many thought impossible, creating earth flowers that could thrive in the harsh alien environment. "Beautiful," a soft voice remarked behind him. "I've never seen anything quite like them." Finn turned to find a striking woman observing his work. Her skin had an unusual opalescent quality that seemed to shift between lavender and rose gold in the artificial lighting. Her hair fell in waves of sterling silver, and her eyes held an otherworldly amber glow. She wore the standard facility jumpsuit, but somehow made it look elegant. "They're a hybrid species," he explained, trying to maintain his professional composure despite being instantly captivated. "Crossbred with native Keplerian succulents to survive the climate here. I'm Finn Barrett, lead botanist." "Naira," she replied simply, reaching out to delicately touch one of the rose petals. "I'm new to the atmospheric monitoring team. The way you've merged Earth species with local flora, it's quite remarkable." There was something about her accent he couldn't quite place, not quite human, but not matching any alien dialect he was familiar with either. "Would you like a tour of our other projects?" he offered, surprising himself with his eagerness to spend more time with her. Her eyes lit up. "I'd love that." Over the next hour, Finn showed Naira through the various garden chambers, explaining the different hybridization techniques and environmental controls. She asked surprisingly insightful questions about genetic manipulation and adaptation processes, far more technical than he'd expect from someone in atmospheric monitoring. "You seem to know quite a bit about xenobotany," he observed as they reached the experimental section. A flash of something worry crossed her features before she smiled. "I find the subject fascinating, though I must admit your passion for it is what makes it truly come alive." Their eyes met, and Finn felt an unexpected connection, like a current of electricity passing between them. There was mystery behind those amber eyes, depths he couldn't begin to fathom but desperately wanted to explore. "Perhaps," he started, gathering his courage, "you'd like to continue this discussion over dinner. The facility's cafe has actual Earth-imported coffee." "I'd like that very much," she replied, her smile brightening the entire chamber. Over the next few weeks, Finn and Naira fell into an easy routine of shared meals and long conversations. She would visit his greenhouse during her breaks, helping him tend to the plants while they discussed everything from terraforming theory to ancient Earth poetry. There was something different about her, the way she moved with almost ethereal grace, how her skin seemed to shimmer in certain lights, her fascinating perspectives on human culture that somehow felt both naive and deeply insightful. One evening, as they watched Kepler 186f's twin moons rise through the dome's transparent panels, Naira grew unusually quiet. "Is everything all right?" Finn asked, nodding the tension in her shoulders. "Finn," she began, her voice carrying an edge of worry he'd never heard before. "There's something I need to tell you about who I really am." Before she could continue, alarms blared throughout the facility. Red emergency lights began flashing as an automated announcement echoed through the chambers. "Attention all personnel, Royal Etherian diplomatic vessel approaching. Standard greeting protocols enacted. All section heads report to main reception." Finn turned to Naira, confusion etched on his face, but she was already backing away, her expression a mix of regret and fear. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never meant to. I have to go." "Naira, wait," he called after her, but she had already disappeared through the airlock doors, leaving him alone with his blooming roses and a growing sense that everything was about to change. As he watched her silver hair vanish around the corner, Finn couldn't shake the feeling that he'd stumbled into something far larger than a simple romance. Who was she really? And why did the arrival of an Etherian diplomatic vessel send her running? The roses seemed to whisper secrets in the artificial breeze, but their mysteries would have to wait. For now, Finn could only stare at the spot where Naira had stood moments before, his heart racing with equal parts excitement and apprehension about what tomorrow might bring. The grand reception hall of the Terrestrial Adaptation Center had never looked more imposing. Finn stood among the other section heads, his formal uniform feeling stiff and unfamiliar compared to his usual greenhouse attire. His eyes scanned the assembled crowd, searching for any sign of Naira, but she was nowhere to be seen. The Etherian delegation swept into the hall like a wave of living starlight. Their skin tones ranged from deep sapphire to pale silver, all bearing the distinctive opalescent sheen he had noticed on Naira. Leading them was a tall, distinguished figure whose presence commanded immediate attention. "Welcome to Kepler 186f, Facility Director Walsh announced. "We are honored to receive High Chancellor Varian of the Etherian Stellar Confederation." Finn's breath caught as he spotted a familiar figure among the delegation, Naira, but transformed. Gone was the simple facility jumpsuit, replaced by flowing robes that seemed woven from captured starlight. A delicate circlet of unknown metal graced her brow, and she carried herself with unmistakable royal bearing. "My daughter, Princess Naira," the High Chancellor introduced, "who has been studying your fascinating facilities operations." The pieces clicked into place, her mysterious knowledge, her otherworldly grace, her fascination with human culture. Finn felt the floor shift beneath his feet as he realized he'd been falling in love with an alien princess. Later that evening, as he sat alone in his greenhouse, a soft chime announced a visitor. Naira stood in the doorway, still in her royal attire but with tears threatening to spill from her amber eyes. "I wanted to tell you," she said softly, "so many times." "Why didn't you?" Finn asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because for the first time in my life, someone saw me for who I am, not what I am." She moved closer, her robes shimming in the artificial twilight. "With you, I wasn't Princess Naira, heir to the Etherian confluence. I was just Naira. The woman who gets excited about hybrid roses and quotes earth poetry," Finn said with a slight smile. "The woman I've fallen in love with." Her eyes widened at his confession. "Finn, I don't care about titles or politics," he continued. "I care about the person who spent hours helping me cross-pollinate flowers, who debates terraforming theories with me, who sees beauty in both our worlds." "It's not that simple," she said, though she moved closer still. "There are expectations, traditions. The Etherian royal line has remained pure for 10,000 years. And yet here you are, a princess who chose to work in a greenhouse." A small laugh escaped her. "I've always been fascinated by how humans adapt. Your species thrives on change, embraces it. My people, we resist it. We've barely altered our customs since we first achieved space flight." "Maybe it's time for change," Finn suggested, reaching out to take her hand. The familiar electricity sparked between them, stronger than ever. "My father would never approve," she whispered but didn't pull away. "Is that why you're here? Official disapproval of human-Etherian collaboration?" Naira's expression grew serious. "Partially, there's a growing divide among my people. Some, like my father, believe we must evolve, forge new connections with other species. Others want to maintain our isolation, our purity. This facility, your work here, it's become a symbol of that debate." "And us, what are we a symbol of?" She reached up to touch his face, her fingers trailing light across his skin. "Hope, perhaps, proof that different worlds can come together and create something beautiful." The moment was shattered by another alarm, different from the diplomatic warning, more urgent. Red emergency lights began flashing as the facility's AI announced, "Warning, environmental breach detected in Sector 7. All personnel implement emergency protocols." Finn's blood ran cold. Sector 7, the experimental hybridization chamber, if the environmental seals were compromised. Someone sabotaged the facility, Naira realized, her royal training giving way to quick action. The anti-integration faction, they must have agents here. "Those plants are 3 years of work," Finn said, already moving toward the emergency gear. "If we lose atmospheric control." "Then we save them," Naira stated firmly, gathering her ornate robes. "Together." As they raced toward the crisis, Finn couldn't help but marvel at how naturally they fell into step together, a human botanist and an alien princess, united by more than just their differences. Whatever came next, whatever obstacles lay ahead, he knew one thing with certainty. His heart had found its home among the stars. Outside the facility windows, Kepler 186f's twin moons cast their gentle light across the crimson desert, witnesses to a love that defied not just gravity, but the very boundaries of worlds. Smoke curled through the experimental hybridization chamber as Finn and Naira rushed inside, emergency breathing apparatus secured to their faces. Through the haze, Finn could see his precious specimens beginning to wilt under the unstable atmospheric conditions. "The environmental controls are completely offline," he called out, checking the main console. This wasn't an accident, someone knew exactly what they were doing. Naira was already moving between the rows of plants, her royal robes forgotten, as she activated portable containment fields around the most vulnerable specimens. "We need to restore the atmospheric seal before we lose everything." A shadow moved through the smoke behind her. "I'm afraid that won't be happening, Your Highness." They turned to find a tall Etherian male emerging from the haze, his midnight blue skin marked with elaborate silver patterns. He wore the insignia of the Royal Guard, but his stance was anything but protective. "Sentinel Chorus," Naira's voice turned cold. "I should have known the purest faction would send you." "We cannot allow this contamination to continue," Chorus declared, his hand resting on what appeared to be a weapon. These experiments, this facility, they represent everything that threatens our sacred traditions. The only threat to our people is our refusal to evolve, Naira countered, subtly positioning herself between Chorus and the endangered plants. These hybrids prove that adaptation makes us stronger, not weaker. Finn watched the exchange while working frantically at the console, trying to bypass the sabotage systems. He could feel the chamber's temperature rising dangerously. "And what of your own adaptation, princess?" Chorus sneered, glancing at Finn. "Consorting with humans, degrading your royal bloodline, your father may tolerate such behavior, but others will not." "My personal choices are not yours to judge, Sentinel." Naira's voice carried an authority Finn had never heard before. "Stand down, that's an order." Instead, Chorus raised his weapon. "I serve a higher authority than a misguided princess." Several things happened at once. Finn finally managed to activate the emergency backup systems, causing klaxons to blare throughout the chamber. Naira lunged forward, her royal training evident in her swift defensive move, and a new voice cut through the chaos. "Stand down, Sentinel, now." High Chancellor Varian stood in the doorway, flanked by actual loyal guards. His expression was thunderous as he surveyed the scene. Chorus hesitated for a moment before lowering his weapon. "My lord, I can explain." "You can explain to the council," Varian interrupted. "Guards take him into custody." As Chorus was led away, Finn rushed to check on his plants. Thanks to Naira's quick action with the containment fields, most of the critical specimens had survived. He found her examining a particularly rare hybrid, her fingers gentle on its leaves. "You saved them," he said softly. "We saved them," she corrected, looking up at him with those mesmerizing amber eyes. "Together." Chancellor Varian approached them, his expression now unreadable. "Daughter, we need to talk." "Father, I can explain everything," Naira began, but he held up a hand. "I'm not blind, Naira, I've seen how you look at him." His gaze shifted to Finn, "and how he looks at you." Finn straightened, ready to defend their relationship, but Varian continued. "The purists tried to destroy this facility because they fear change. They fear what happens when different worlds come together." He touched one of the hybrid roses gently. "But look at what such unions can create: beauty, strength, resilience." "Father," Naira's voice was full of hope. "The old ways must evolve or they will crumble," Varian said. "But there will be consequences, challenges. The purists are strong and they will not accept this easily." "I understand the risks," Finn said, taking Naira's hand. "She's worth them all." "As is he, father," Naira added firmly. Varian studied them for a long moment. "Then we have much work to do. The council must be convinced, traditions adapted, new protocols established." A small smile touched his lips. "But perhaps that's exactly what our people need: proof that love knows no boundaries, not even those between stars." As the cleanup crews arrived to restore the chamber, Finn and Naira remained close, their hands intertwined. The hybrid roses bloomed around them, each flower a testament to the beauty that could emerge when different worlds dared to come together. "Stay with me," Finn whispered. Naira's answer was a kiss that made the stars themselves seem to fade in comparison. Around them, the saved plants continued their quiet growth, unaware they had become symbols of a love that might just change two civilizations forever. The news of Princess Naira's relationship with a human botanist spread through the Etherian Stellar Confederation like wildfire. Within days, the Kepler 186F facility had become the center of a political storm that threatened centuries of tradition. Finn found Naira in their favorite spot in the greenhouse, surrounded by the hybrid roses that had first brought them together. She was reading messages on a holographic display, her expression growing more troubled with each one. "That bad?" he asked, sitting beside her. "The council is divided," she sighed. "Half support my father's progressive stance, but the others, they're calling for my removal from the succession line." She looked up at him, worry clouding her amber eyes. "Some are even suggesting we abandon the entire collaboration with Earth." Finn reached for her hand, marveling as always at how her skin seemed to shimmer at his touch. "What can we do?" "Father suggests we address the council directly, show them what we've achieved here, help them understand that our worlds are stronger together." She squeezed his hand. "But Finn, it would mean leaving Kepler 186F, going to the Etherian homeworld." "Then we'll go," he said without hesitation. "Your world can't remain isolated forever, and if our love can help bridge that gap." "It won't be easy," she warned. "The Etherian capital is different. The gravity, the atmosphere, the social protocols, everything will be challenging for you." "I'm a botanist," he smiled. "I know a thing or two about helping things grow in challenging environments." Their preparation for departure was interrupted by an urgent message from High Chancellor Varian. The purist faction had called for an immediate council vote on the Human Collaboration Initiative. They had 3 days to make their case. As they boarded the royal vessel, Finn took one last look at the facility that had brought them together. The hybrid roses were in full bloom, their petals catching the light of the setting suns. "They'll survive," Naira assured him, understanding his concern, "just like us." The journey to Etheria Prime took 2 days in fold space. Finn spent most of it learning about Etherian customs and protocols from Naira and her father. The more he learned, the more he understood the magnitude of what they were attempting to change. "Our society has remained unchanged for millennia," Varian explained. "We pride ourselves on stability, on preservation of our ways, but the galaxy is evolving and we must evolve with it." When they emerged from fold space, Finn's first view of the Etherian homeworld took his breath away. The planet seemed to glow from within, its atmosphere shimmering with colors he had no names for. "Welcome to my world," Naira whispered, her arms around him as they watched from the observation deck. "It's beautiful," he managed, "like you." Their arrival at the capital city was met with mixed reactions. Some Etherians regarded Finn with obvious curiosity, others with barely concealed disdain. The Great Council chamber itself was a marvel of crystalline architecture, its spires reaching toward the iridescent sky. As they prepared to enter, Naira pulled Finn aside. "Whatever happens in there," she said softly, "know that choosing you was the easiest decision I've ever made." He kissed her, not caring who saw. "Then let's show them why." The council session was about to begin, and with it, the fight for their future and the future of 2 worlds. The Great Council chamber fell silent as Finn and Naira stood together before the assembled Etherian leaders. The crystalline walls seemed to pulse with tension as High Chancellor Varian made their formal introduction. "Honorable Council," Naira began, her voice clear and strong. "We come before you not just as a princess and a botanist, but as living proof that our worlds can unite in beautiful and unexpected ways." Finn stepped forward, activating a holographic display of their work. "These hybrid plants represent more than just scientific achievement," he explained. "They show us that adaptation makes us stronger, not weaker, that change brings growth." The council members murmured among themselves as images of the thriving hybrid species filled the chamber. But one elder rose, his expression stern. "Pretty flowers do not justify the dilution of 10,000 years of tradition," he declared. "The princess's infatuation threatens the very foundation of our society." "With respect, Elder," Finn responded, surprising many with his knowledge of Etherian protocol, "your society's foundation was built by ancestors who dared to reach for the stars. They didn't fear the unknown, they embraced it." Naira moved closer to him, their fingers intertwining. "Look at us," she addressed the council. "Human and Etherian, different in form but united in heart. Like our hybrid roses, we are stronger together than apart." "And what of heirs?" another council member challenged. "The royal line can be strengthened by new blood," Varian interrupted. "Just as these hybrid plants show superior resistance to harsh conditions, so too can our people benefit from diversity." The debate raged for hours. Finn and Naira presented their research, their vision, and most importantly, their love, not as a challenge to Etherian traditions, but as an evolution of them. Finally, the council called for a vote. As the members registered their decisions, Finn held Naira close, both of them watching the holographic tally with bated breath. The chamber erupted in shocked whispers as the final results appeared. By a narrow margin, the council had voted to support not only the continuation of human-Etherian collaboration, but also to recognize the legitimacy of cross-species unions. "It appears," the head counselor announced, "that love truly knows no boundaries, not even those between stars." 1 year later, the gardens of the royal palace bloomed with hybrid roses as Finn and Naira celebrated their union in a ceremony that combined both Earth and Etherian traditions. The flowers that had first brought them together now symbolized the blooming of a new era of cooperation between their peoples. "Look," Finn whispered to his bride as they stood in their private moment after the ceremony. He pointed to one of the hybrid roses, which had developed an unexpected iridescent sheen to its petals, a perfect blend of earth beauty and Etherian magic. "Like us," Naira smiled, her amber eyes shining with joy. "Something entirely new yet perfectly natural." "The best kind of evolution," he agreed, pulling her close. As they kissed beneath the twin moons of Etheria Prime, their love story became legend. Not just a tale of 2 hearts finding each other across the vast expanse of space, but of 2 civilizations learning that the greatest strength lies in embracing change, celebrating differences, and daring to grow together. The hybrid roses continued to bloom, each flower a testament to the truth they had proven, that love, like life itself, finds a way to flourish even in the most unexpected places. And somewhere in the vast garden of stars, new possibilities were just waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to reach for them.
The end.